let's catch the perfect wave. This is a surfing game. In fact, we played this one live on the Dice Tower if you want to watch how it works. This is a game in which you're playing cards face down. Eventually they'll be flipped up, and then you get to surf that wave. Let me show you. Each player is going to have one of these boards in front of them with a little surfer person that's going to be moving along the bottom. You also start with a couple of wax tokens. And players were going to have 2 actions on their turns, and what they're doing is they're trying to build, well, the perfect wave. And you're going to do that by placing numbers. Now, when you place numbers, they're going to be face down on the board, but at the end of the game, you'll reveal them. So a perfect wave is numbers that go up in value or stay the same. So if I played a 7 here, this 7 isn't going to count. But then I have 6, 6, 7, 8, 10. That is a nice wave. However, that wave won't work unless I get my surfer all the way out to the end of it. If they only got here, my wave is just going to be a 6, 6, 7. For your wave, if you have it completed at the end of the game, you're going to get the points that are underneath it. You'll also get points if you have a run. So here I have a 6, 7, 8. So that's going to give me some extra points. Or a set if I had 3 of the same number in a row. For example, 6, 6, 6. That would also give me bonus points. And then also tricks. So there are trick cards that you can play over the course of the game. So we will also be placing those face down. You can place one above the board here. Each of these will give you points if you meet the requirements. This says if there's no adjacent tricks. So that's 20 points. Well, now it's worth nothing because there's a trick here. This one's 10 if it's above an even number. Now, the way the game works is on a player's turn, they have 2 actions. They are going to be taking cards from here. There's going to be a face-up display of both the trick cards and the cards below it. You can take these cards and either add them to your hand or immediately play them on the board. Once a card's played, you can't play it anymore. Those paddle out cards are just discarded and they'll move your surfer up 1. You can also spend a wax token to move your surf token forward. When you move this forward, remember you need to have it forward to score, but you also may only play cards at its spot or to the right. Once the surfer has passed an empty spot on the board, you can no longer play cards in that spot. There's a few other actions that you can do. You'll notice some endgame scoring cards are worth 50 points. You can use your whole turn to put one of these surfboards under it, and then that one will score for everybody. Each player will also have a secret one in their hand that they can score at the end of the game. At the end of every turn, these 2 cards are wiped away. The cards over here will move out. A new card is added to the end, and it's the next person's turn. If this deck runs out, it's reshuffled. If this deck runs out, the trick deck, then the game end is triggered, and we add up points for each person's wave. Highest points is the winner. The perfect wave is almost what I would call a mass market game. Like this is a game that could be played at Walmart, or not played at Walmart, but bought at Walmart. It's really easy to teach people. It has some similarities, maybe a little bit to Racco, because what you're doing is you're collecting cards and putting them out in front of you. And there's some interesting decisions about when to take those paddle out cards, or you can skip an action or skip 2 actions to take one of those wax tokens, which you can then use later. How fast should you paddle out? If you paddle out too fast, you don't get to play the cards and the waves that are behind you, but also if you don't paddle out, you're not going to score your wave. It's an interesting game. There's a little bit of fiddliness in discarding those last cards, and honestly, and I don't say this about many games, I think it's a little shorter than I would prefer. Most of the time when you play this with people who've never played before, and I've played this several times, but if you've never played before, that first time you might not make a good enough wave to come home on. But you're like, oh, I should have paddled my guy out. There's a few things that it takes a little bit of knowledge in there. After that, though, it is a fine game. It is very easy to talk while you're playing this game. You'll be constantly moving the cards and placing stuff. There's a little bit of interaction, but not a ton. And it's just it's a nice, pleasant game. It's not one I want to play all the time. I'm giving it a 6.5 because it's almost there for me. But surfing is a very exciting sport. This game does not feel like you're doing something very exciting. It's more about calmly. It's more of a Zen type experience. And I think some people would enjoy that. And I'll play it. It's just that I don't know that I would be the one necessarily to suggest it. So that's Perfect Wave.